Ever feel kind of stuck? Like you're dreaming big, but always hitting that snooze button when it comes to actually, doing something about it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'll admit it, the snooze button and we have a pretty solid relationship. Especially when it comes to that side hustle I keep meaning to get off the ground. The one currently living rent-free in my ideas folder.
Oh, I feel that.
But hey, you're not alone, right? Today we're going deep, a real deep dive into why we get stuck and how to break free.
We're all about being honest here. Yeah. Even the high achievers, they struggle with procrastination too. Sticking to those big goals, it's not always easy.
No, absolutely not. It's like everyone has a secret stash of those unfinished projects and abandoned good intentions.
I'm picturing a graveyard of like dusty gym member zips and half-written novels.
It's almost funny, isn't it? Students snoozing in the middle of class, entrepreneurs feeling totally overwhelmed, endless scrolling on social media. We've all been there.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get real. Let's cut to the chase. Okay, so often, the biggest thing holding us back, it isn't time or even talent. It's discipline.
Oof, that's the truth.
It's that thing we don't really like talking about, like that elephant in the room wearing workout clothes, judging us while we binge watch Netflix.
Okay, ouch. That hit a little too close to home. But you're right. Deep down, we know when we're just making excuses,
Mm-hmm.
instead of actually putting in the work. I'm definitely guilty of this. Blaming my non-existent exercise routine on a busy schedule when really I spent a big chunk of last night scrolling through Instagram.
Yeah, classic self-deception. But the good news is recognizing it. That's the first step to changing things.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think of it like this. You want to get in shape, right? Sculpt that dream physique. But you're at the gym, and you're on your phone more than the weights. Is the gym the problem?
Definitely not. It's the commitment, or rather, the lack of it.
Right. And that's where things get really interesting. Honestly, admitting that there's a problem, that's only half the battle, right?
So true. So then what's next? What's the other half?
It's time to stop making excuses and take ownership. It's not about beating ourselves up, okay? It's about empowering ourselves to actually change. Change doesn't happen by just wishing for it. It happens through action.
Okay, action. Got it. I'm ready. Where do we even begin?
It all starts with being brutally honest with ourselves. No sugarcoating, no more justifying our shortcomings. We got to look in the mirror and ask, what am I doing or not doing that's holding me back?
Wow, that's powerful. And a little scary if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It might sting at first, but then, then the healing can start.
Yep.
So once we've identified those self-sabotaging behaviors, then what? What's the next step?
Then comes actually taking ownership. Not blame, but empowerment. You have the power to change your actions, your habits, and ultimately, your outcomes. No more waiting for that perfect moment. Start now, build momentum from there.
Okay, I'm on board with this take action now thing. So what's next in this journey?
You got to set boundaries with yourself. Create non-negotiable goals. Something like, I'm going to spend 30 minutes every single day learning this new skill, or I'm working out 3 times a week. No excuses.
Okay, structure and accountability, I like it. But what about those moments when it's just so tempting to give in? Like it's pouring rain, and the thought of leaving my warm, cozy bed to go for a run just seems impossible.
That's where visualization comes in. Picture yourself 5 years from now. What's your life going to look like if you keep giving in? Will you be drowning in regrets?
Ugh, okay, that's a scary thought. Future me would not be happy with the give-in approach.
Yeah.
But still, sometimes discipline feels like this magical thing, like some people just have it and others, well, they don't.
That's a myth. Discipline isn't some superpower you're born with. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it, strengthen it with practice. Think of it like a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. So how do we start building this discipline muscle? Any, practical tips?
Start with those small wins. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. Focus on making small changes you can actually stick with. Like make your bed every morning, have a glass of water first thing when you wake up. Those tiny actions, they build momentum.
Yeah, small wins, I love that. They're like little dopamine boosts, right?
Exactly. And find an accountability partner, a friend, a mentor, even an app that tracks your progress. Sharing your goals, having someone check in on you, it can make all the difference. It's like having your own personal cheerleader in your corner, reminding you why you started in the first place.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. Having someone to celebrate wins with and, to be there for you during those inevitable stumbles, it makes the whole journey so much easier. But let's be real, the hardest part isn't even starting, it's staying consistent. How do we stay locked in when that initial burst of motivation fades and the old habits start creeping back in.
You're absolutely right. Consistency is the key to making real, lasting change, but it's also the biggest challenge.
For sure. It's like there's this invisible force trying to pull us back to our comfort zones.
Totally.
So how do we resist it? How do we keep moving forward?
Yeah, it's like this constant tug of war, isn't it? Between wanting to grow and just wanting to stay comfy. But those comfort zones, as cozy as they are, they can really hold us back.
Totally. It's like choosing that sugary treat instead of a healthy meal.
Definitely.
Tastes great in the moment, but you don't feel so good afterward. So how do we break free from those comfy zones? How do we convince ourselves that all the hard work is actually worth it?
You got to tap into your why. Why is this goal important to you? What will reaching it actually bring to your life? Connect with that deep desire, that passion that drives you. Write it down, visualize it, remind yourself of it every single day. That's your guiding light when those comfort zones start calling.
I like that, a guiding light. It's like having your own personal North Star.
Yeah.
Speaking of guidance, we mentioned accountability partners earlier. Can you talk a bit more about how they can help us stay focused?
An accountability partner, they're kind of like a coach, right?
Yeah.
Cheering you on, keeping you on track. They give you support, encouragement, and a little nudge when you need it. Find someone who gets your goals, believes in you, and will hold you accountable.
And it doesn't have to be anything formal, right? It could be a friend, someone in your family, or even an online community.
Exactly. The key is finding someone you trust, someone who will give you honest feedback, the good and the bad. Share your goals, check in with each other, and celebrate those wins. It's about having a support system that helps you grow.
Makes me think about the importance of community. We often try to do everything alone, like lone wolves. But having a supportive network, it makes all the difference.
Big time. We're social creatures, right?
Mm.
Sharing our journey with others, it gives us a sense of belonging, encouragement, inspiration, like a team of Sherpas guiding you up a mountain.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
So we've talked about tracking our time, minimizing distractions, connecting with our why, and having those accountability buddies. What other strategies can help us stay locked in, stay consistent?
Another powerful tool is creating a routine. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, I know, but having a schedule actually frees up mental space. Less decision fatigue.
Really? Tell me more about that.
So when you have a routine, you don't waste energy trying to figure out what to do next. You can automate all those little tasks and free up brain power for more important things, like going after those passions and goals.
Okay, I'm starting to see how that works. It's like having a pre-programmed GPS for your day. No more wasting time trying to figure out where you're going. How do we even create a routine that works for us? Is there like a one-size-fits-all?
No way! It's all about experimenting. See what works best for you. Some people like super strict schedules, others need more flexibility. Start by figuring out when you're most productive. When are you most alert and focused? Schedule those important tasks for those golden hours.
That's a good tip. I'm a morning person for sure. My brain's going a mile a minute before most people even have their coffee. So I should schedule things like creative work, writing, brainstorming, all that for the mornings.
Exactly. Take advantage of those natural energy flows. And don't forget to schedule in breaks throughout the day, okay? Our brains need to recharge.
So those research rabbit holes I mentioned, maybe they're not so bad after all.
Maybe not. Breaks can actually be productive as long as they're planned and you're not spending hours down there. Set a timer for 15, 20 minutes, step away from the work, do something that relaxes you, a quick walk, listen to music, meditate.
Wow, you're making me rethink my whole approach to productivity. It's not about forcing ourselves to work nonstop. It's about working smarter.
Exactly. It's about finding that rhythm that works for you, that lets you be productive and fulfilled.
Okay, feeling energized and inspired over here. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's go back to something you mentioned before, setbacks. We all have them, right? So how do we handle those setbacks in a way that doesn't, totally derail our progress?
Ugh. That's a great question. It's something we all struggle with. Setbacks, they can be so discouraging, especially when you've put in a ton of effort. But remember, they're a totally normal part of the journey. Nobody reaches success without hitting a few bumps along the way. It's like that saying, right? The only way to avoid criticism is to do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing.
Right.
If you're going for something meaningful, something that pushes you, you're going to face challenges. The key is to see those challenges as opportunities to grow.
Love that. Turning those stumbling blocks into stepping stones.
Exactly. Setbacks are often opportunities in disguise. They make us rethink our strategy, figure out our weaknesses, and come back stronger. It's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up.
Okay, that's some seriously good advice.
Yeah.
But in the moment, when you're feeling down, discouraged, it can be really tough to see those setbacks as anything but failures. Any advice for those moments?
First things first, let yourself feel those emotions. Don't try to bury them or pretend they're not there. Acknowledge that disappointment, that frustration, whatever it is. Let yourself process it. Then, once you've acknowledged it, you can start to shift your perspective. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow?
It's like turn those lemons into lemonade, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Setbacks, they're often disguised opportunities. They
Hmm.
force us to rethink how we're doing things, figure out our weaknesses, and come back stronger. Remember, it's not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get back up.
This has been such an empowering conversation. We've covered so much ground today, haven't we? From the importance of consistency, accountability, routine, and even reframing those setbacks opportunities. It's like we're building this incredible toolkit for success.
And don't forget about self-awareness, honesty, aligning your actions with what you truly value.
Pure gold. I hope everyone's taking notes because this is the kind of wisdom that can really change your life. We've talked about consistency, being accountable, routine, even like reframing those setbacks as opportunities. It's like we're building this amazing toolkit, for success. But I feel like there's still more to uncover, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. We've explored the external stuff, the tools and techniques, right? But now let's dive into the internal game, the mindset shifts that can really make a huge difference.
Ooh, I love that. It's like going from the how-to to the why.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what we do, it's about what we believe about ourselves, and what we're capable of.
So what are some of those limiting beliefs that might be holding us back?
One of the big ones, fear of failure. We get so caught up in this idea of being perfect, doing everything right the first time, that we're terrified to even try. We're paralyzed by the thought of messing up.
Yeah, it's like we're walking on eggshells, afraid to take risks or put ourselves out there because we're so scared of being judged.
Exactly. And that fear can keep us stuck, prevent us from reaching our full potential.
So how do we get over this fear of failing?
We got to reframe how we see failure. Instead of viewing it as something negative, like an ending point, we need to see it as part of the process, the learning process.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about accepting it as a teacher.
Exactly. Think about it. Every successful person, whether they're an entrepreneur, an artist, an athlete, they've all faced setbacks. They've all failed. And those experiences, they shaped them, taught them to be resilient, and ultimately led them to success.
That's like that Thomas Edison quote, right? I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work.
Yeah, exactly. Edison didn't give up after the first try, or even the thousandth try. He saw each attempt as a chance to learn, to refine his approach, and get closer to his goal.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. Instead of asking, what if I fail? We should be asking, what can I learn from this that will help me succeed next time?
Absolutely. Remember, failure is only final if we decide it is. It's our perception, that determines its impact. We choose whether we let it define us or whether we use it as fuel to move forward.
I love that. We're taking back the power from this fear.
Yeah.
But there's another limiting belief that often comes with the fear of failure, right? Imposter syndrome.
Ugh, yes. Imposter syndrome, that's that little voice in our heads telling us we're not good enough, that we're fakes waiting to be exposed.
Yeah, it's like that constant fear of being found out. Even when you have proof that you're not a fake, like achievements, awards, people telling you you're good at what you do.
It's so common, and it can really hold you back. It can keep you from going after opportunities, sharing your ideas, and even celebrating your wins.
So how do we quiet that inner critic, that imposter syndrome that keeps telling us we're not worthy?
First, remember that it's totally normal to feel this way, especially for high achievers. We set high standards for ourselves, and when we don't meet them perfectly, that inner critic starts yelling.
So even the most successful people deal with this. It's not just me.
Not at all. Lots of research shows that imposter syndrome is actually more common among high achievers. It's almost like a side effect of success.
Okay, well, that's kind of reassuring. But what can we do about it? How do we actually quiet that voice telling us we're not enough?
One thing that helps is focusing on your strengths. Instead of dwelling on what you think you lack, shift your attention to what you're good at, your skills, your wins.
It's like making a mental highlight reel of everything we've accomplished, everything we're good at.
Exactly. Write those things down, the strengths, the wins, the positive feedback. Look at that list whenever that imposter syndrome starts creeping in.
It's like having a pep talk ready to go whenever you need it.
Another thing that can help, surround yourself with supportive people. Find those who believe in you, who encourage you, and celebrate your successes.
It's crazy how much our environment can affect how we see ourselves, right?
Totally. The people we spend time with, they have a huge impact on how we feel about ourselves. Choose wisely and build relationships with those who lift you up.
This whole conversation has been so insightful. We've uncovered so much about the mental side of success. It's not just about the to-do lists and the hacks. It's about how we see ourselves.
It's about knowing you're worthy, embracing what you're good at, and seeing failure as a stepping stone, not a roadblock.
And it's about having a supportive community, right? People who believe in you and push you to be your best.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment, inside and out, that helps you grow, be resilient, and believe in yourself.
This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on reaching my potential. It's not just about hitting those external goals. It's about feeling empowered and believing in myself.
Couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that we're all capable of incredible things and then taking action consistently to make those things happen.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. We hope you've learned some valuable stuff today, stuff that will help you on your path to greatness.
Remember, the power to create the life you want is already within you. Embrace your strengths, reframe those challenges, and never stop believing in yourself.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep unlocking your potential. It's limitless.